Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another video. Today we've got the championship table calculated for you. I asked you guys what your championship predictions are 1 to 24 and we had over 50 championship fans getting their predictions. Today I've tallied them up and this is the average championship table based on everyone's predictions. We've got Coventry fans, Birmingham fans, Millwall fans, Sunderland fans, the whole works joining in to give us their predictions 1 to 24 for the upcoming championship season. If you like this video, do drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content, and let's get into this. So then, no surprises with who's come top of the league. It is Norwich City. Over 60% of you had them to win the league, and if you didn't have them to win the league, they were in your playoff mix. Norwich are strong favourites. The bookies have got them as favourites, and you guys have as well. No surprises there. In second place, just sneaking past Watford, is Sheffield United. You guys seem to fancy the Blades. Some of you actually had them to win the league, but a lot of you have them in second place for the upcoming season. Sheffield United would definitely take that. They were very strong last year. Obviously, not quite finished with their business yet. I know they were trying to get Gibbs White back. I don't know if that's going to go through. Regardless of that, I like Heckingbottom. I like the players they have got. And yeah, I think they're a well-run club. I think they'll be one of the favourites to go up this season. And like I say, just missing out is Watford. The bookies have Watford as second favourites, but your predictions have put them in third place, so just missing out. I could see it being really tight between these three in particular. The three main favourites, it looks like. Watford in third place with your predictions. Let me know if you agree with that if you're a Watford fan. There's big changes going on this summer. In fourth place, you guys have got Middlesbrough. The bookies put Middlesbrough in third. You guys on average put them in fourth. A few people predicted them to actually go up in second place. A few people a bit lower down in the playoffs. So on average, they're finishing fourth. I think Middlesbrough fans will be expecting that in this season, you know, with Chris Wilder, with the players they've got, with the players they're going after in this summer as well. I think Middlesbrough will be a strong force, and I can see them being in there. They'd be in my top six as well. In fifth place, you guys have gone for the Baggies. A lot of people, including the bookies, expect West Bromwich Albion to improve on last season. Obviously, Steve Bruce has got the summer to try and work things out. I don't know what to expect. I mean, Steve Bruce is a bit of a wild card. I've said his CV is actually quite good on paper when it comes to what he's done in the Championship, but the West Brom fans weren't too keen towards the end of last season. I think, though, potential-wise, West Brom have got very decent players. They've got a good fan base, and obviously they've got more resources than some of these other Championship teams. They're still a parachute payment team. So you guys have got them in your top six. Just joining them in sixth place, you've gone for Burnley. So the three relegated teams all to prop up in that top six there. It was really close here between 6th and 7th. We'll come on to 7th in just a minute, but Burnley expected to do well enough to make the playoffs. I think the Burnley fans will have expectations to at least be in and around the playoffs. Obviously, big changes with a lot of players going, but Kompany, what a manager that could be. We don't know what he's going to be like as a manager in the Championship just yet, but obviously his CV speaks for itself at Anderlecht, and they have still got plenty of quality there. And like I say, parachute payments, which could help Burnley secure a top six place. Just missing out, you guys have Huddersfield. Most of you putting them bang on in 7th place. A few of you have them in the playoffs. I can see it being quite close. Personally, when I'm looking at the Championship table, I'm starting to think I might actually squeeze Huddersfield into my top six. Obviously, it could go either way. After a great season last year, they could follow it up again, or they could fall away. But I think Corberan's really proved himself, and obviously they've kept some of their decent players, still not finished with their business as well, but you guys expect them to be strong regardless in 7th place. In 8th place, you've gone for my team, which is Coventry City. A bit of a combination here. Obviously, a few Coventry fans in the comments saying that they think we'll do well. Even other fans seem to think Coventry could do well. A few of you have put Coventry to make the playoffs. I think 8th place is fairly realistic. There's also some people that are, you know, even Coventry fans saying that we could fall away, and let's not get carried away. Obviously, it's ridiculously early to do these predictions because Coventry haven't really done much business at the moment. Casey Palmer, and that is about it, to be honest. We've held on to our players so far, Gyökeres, O'Hare and Hamer, and I think regardless of who we bring in and who we let go, I think we know under Robbins and Vivash we've got good management and good structure at the club. We're going in the right direction. In 9th place, you guys have gone for Stoke City, so that's an improvement on last season. Stoke City did quite well at times last season. Michael O'Neill couldn't quite get them to be consistent enough to break into the top six, but you guys seem to think Stoke will improve and battle for the playoffs. A couple of you had them in your playoffs, so if you're a Stoke fan, would you be happy with 9th, or do you think you have to get the playoffs? Because I think the expectations are high at Stoke City. 10th place is Swansea City. It seems to be a theme. A lot of people seem to think Swansea are going in the right direction. I agree. I actually put them in my early Championship predictions top 6. I think the football they played under Russell Martin was very encouraging. Still not finished their business yet, so it's very early days, but I think regardless, like I say, they play good football. They've got a decent manager there, so going into next season they're looking to improve, and I don't really see them finishing lower than what they did last season. I see them climbing the table. Also, in the top half, in 11th place, you guys have gone for Luton Town, so a bit of a drop-off. The bookies have put Luton to fall away a bit. You guys are a bit mixed on Luton Town. There's a few people thinking Luton will be in and amongst the playoff picture. A few of you think more like mid-table. So 11th place isn't bad, but after the bar they set last year, it's not the best. I want to get Luton's fans' opinions down in the comments. I'll obviously do my official Championship predictions in a couple of weeks' time, but you guys on average have Luton to just be in the top half, but it's not quite as good as last season, is it? In 12th place, just making the top half, you've gone for Millwall. I think Millwall will be in the top half. I think 12th maybe a little bit harsh. You guys were a bit split on Millwall. Some of you had them around the playoffs, some of you about 13th or 14th. So on average, they've come here in 12th place. I think there's good structure. I think you look at some of the clubs here where there's a bit of a mess behind the scenes. Millwall are always a solid, reliable team, and I like the manager as well. I've said he's a safe pair of hands. Decent players, not finished their business yet, so we need to wait and see with a lot of these teams still. Just missing out on the top half. In 13th, you've gone for Queen's Park Rangers, so pretty similar to what the bookies had to say about Queen's Park Rangers. I suppose it's a wild card when a new manager comes in. Obviously, if they keep the majority of the players from last season, you can see them doing quite well again because they did very well under Warburton. Kind of fell away in 2022, but I don't know what to expect from Beale. I've said he's a bit of an unknown. I mean, obviously, he's done okay as an assistant manager, but it's very hard to judge. So I think QPR could be in the mix for the playoffs, but you guys have them pretty firm in mid-table. In 14th place, you guys have gone for Blackburn Rovers. Once again, a complete wild card with Thomasson coming in, not finished their business yet. They've got decent players there. They'll be looking to hold on to some players as well as recruiting some players, but that would be a little bit of a drop-off for Blackburn, who did quite well last season. Like I say, with a new manager, I feel like the bookies and people's predictions might be more negative than positive if you've had a good season the season before. So Blackburn expected to maybe drop a couple of places. If you're a Blackburn fan, get your predictions in as well. In 15th place, you guys have gone for Bristol City, so much better than what the bookies had to say on Bristol City. You can see some of their business is looking pretty exciting. I think there's a few Bristol City fans thinking positively going into this season, thinking they can improve on last season. If they can finish close to mid-table or even sneak into that top half, that'd be a drastic improvement, because I wasn't particularly keen, and if they get off to a slow start to this season, I could see Nigel Pearson coming under some pressure. So I'd like to think Bristol City can push on after last season, and you guys have them in 15th place. If you're a Bristol City fan, it's time to get your comments down below and let me know what you think. 16th place, you guys have gone for Sunderland. Pretty steady. I think everyone's expecting them to do the best out of the newly promoted teams. We'll have to wait and see if they can live up to that. Obviously, it's the size of club. I mean, I've already said the fan base, the amount of fans they're going to have at home games and away games could really just push them up a couple places on its own. Decent players. I like the manager. He's experienced in the Championship, of course. Yeah, Sunderland will have to wait and see. I really think it could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if Sunderland cracked the top 10, but you guys being a bit more realistic by putting them in 16th, I suppose. 17th place, you guys have gone for Preston North End. I feel like people have been a bit harsh with Preston. I think they'll be more around mid-table, but I suppose it is competitive. You can't have everyone in mid-table because there'll be no one down the bottom end of the table. But Preston to be pretty clear of relegation with your predictions, but not quite setting the world on fire in 17th place. A bit of a mixed range. Some of you had them around mid-table, some of you had them as far down as about 20th, so I don't know what to expect. I don't think Preston will be in any danger. I think Ryan Lowe's a decent manager. Still not finished their business, of course. Once again, if you're a Preston fan, give me your thoughts going into the next season. I think if you're a Preston fan, you should be looking at this season quite positively. In 18th place, you guys have gone for Cardiff City, so a slight improvement on last season. I think it's quite hard with Cardiff City. Some of you guys have them to finish around mid-table. I mean, the bookies had them in 9th place, which a few of you were surprised by. Once again, you can get that in the Championship. I mean, it's not going to be every season the teams finishing in exactly the same place. They can absolutely bounce from one end to the other, and I think Cardiff City are an example of that. They've been in the playoff mix, and then last season they really fell down the table. I think Cardiff really are a wild card as well, so we have to wait and see what their full squad looks like come the end of July, but I don't know. It's a real wild card, Cardiff City. In 19th place, you guys have gone for Blackpool, just steering clear of the bottom three. I think they will probably survive, but I've said before, without Critchley, they've lost a little bit of what I loved about them, but I still like Blackpool regardless. I just think Critchley he just galvanised that team and the fans were right behind him. They have to get behind Appleton though. You know, Critchley's gone now. They need to move on with what's new, and I feel like Appleton, because he's been there before, could be a decent manager, but we're looking at a very competitive Championship at the bottom this season, so Blackpool don't want to get too involved in it. You guys have got them to finish 19th, so just clear of it. Once again, if you're a Blackpool fan, do you think you'll improve on last season where it was a pretty decent first season? Do you think you'll hold, or do you think you might regress a little bit? Let me know down below. 20th place, you guys have gone for Wigan, just about steering clear of the bottom three as well. Obviously topped League One, we've said how brilliant they were. Obviously it's a completely different ball game. Liam Richardson, decent manager of course, but like I say, the Championship is completely different. They could be in for a bit of a rude awakening. I'd like to think the Wigan fans will be fairly realistic going into this season and think the first season staying up and then maybe build on it going into the next seasons would be the best way to look at it. Just avoiding the bottom three is Hull City. Now this was close. A few of you had them in your bottom three. Hull are really tricky one to predict by you guys. I mean, some of you had them to climb up towards about 13th or 14th. Some of you had them as far down as second bottom. I think the Hull fans are looking at this season quite positively after the way they ended last season and the fact their squad's shaped up fairly nicely. Once again, they haven't finished all their business, but Hull City are in a much better place than where they were a couple of years ago. So I think Hull City just beating the drop. I mean, is that harsh? I mean, I suppose they'd take surviving again, but they really do want to push on. Just going down in 22nd place, you guys have gone for Birmingham City. This is interesting. It was quite a range with Birmingham City. Some of you had them to just survive, and then a lot of you had them to just go down. Looks like they could be on the borderline. Birmingham in 22nd there. It wouldn't surprise me if Birmingham finished 21st, to be honest, where they just beat the drop by one place and maybe by 1 point. They have been in the Championship for so long, and there's been a few seasons where they've just scraped over the line, but some of you seem to think their time could be up in the Championship. After Forest and Derby exited the Championship last year, Birmingham are now the longest serving Championship team, and they're not really improving. Obviously, Lee Bowyer's now gone out. It's really tricky to think positively for Birmingham City, to be honest. 23rd, you guys have gone for Reading. Reading, I've said, have been a bit of a punchbag in these predictions because although they did pretty well last season and Paul Ince is there and it looks a bit more stable than it was, say, earlier in the year, a lot of you still think they will go down. I think a lot of you are expecting the teams to come up like Wigan and Sunderland to really push on, and that leaves some Championship teams that have been there for a while to maybe fall into the gap and go in that bottom three. It's tricky with Reading. I mean, I think I might put them in my bottom three, but I don't know. I mean, Reading, it'd be typical if Reading go and surprise us and finish mid-table, but you guys have put them 23rd for now. And then going down, bottom of the table is Rotherham United. It seems fairly predictable. There's a few Rotherham fans that have been saying to me how they're trying to be positive, how this time it'll be different. But I think, once again, it's history speaking for itself. As brilliant as they were in League One last year, people just seem to expect Paul Warne and Rotherham to not be able to do it once again. I tell you what, it'd be a great story if they did survive, but you guys have put them in 24th. So then, guys, that wraps up your Championship table predictions. That's over 50 Championship fans' predictions piled into one table. Let me know if you agree down below, and make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.